I joined the city staff in 1968, so I was part of the employment base for the city hall. And a good bit of activity took place in this building, actually. I'm on the non-elected side, but Carrie was on the elected official side.
My daughter came home from high school and she had a requirement to attend a couple of council meetings. So she asked her 5 brothers if one of them would come to the council. They all turned it down. And my wife looked at me and says, "You're it." So I arrived at the council meeting and I went in and there's hardly anybody in the audience. So I had all the space to sit. So we got seated ourselves and the council was already on their high horse. It was as if I was in court and they were about to conduct a court on me. Then I look to my right and what do I see? I see a long-haired hippie freak. And what do you know? This guy was a city manager. And next to him was this Cheshire cat, the city's legal attorney. He was all teeth. And then the other one, I guess it was Dorothy Storm, who was the city clerk. She was a beautiful doll. She ran the city. It was a pleasure being there. Then the council at that time was looking at Sam Cooper, and so if I can remember all their names, so Carol Weddle, who was the mayor for 2 terms, but only got past the first term, I believe.
Other than the Irvine Ranch, where large acreage was controlled by a single entity, the city of Brea is one of the few places in Southern California where large amounts of land was available, and it was either available for sale or keeping it in ownership of oil companies, depending on the international price of oil. So it's one of the few places, if you needed 100 acres, you could get it in Brea. A lot of other places, they were selling 1 and 2 acres. So clearly, the oil companies had a huge impact on what the existence and the future of Brea would become.
After we became council watchers, I found myself being appointed to the redevelopment C to evaluate the area it was going to be and what was going to be used for it. And so that's when I got into the city. Then eventually there was a vacancy on the council. Rex Gady went to the county, and I took his place on the council. And then, let's see, I think I ran in 1980, and I lost the position by about 16 votes. So it was in 1982 that I finally returned to the council, and the first person I wanted to see on the council area was this guy. This guy has done more for Brea than any other individual that's living today. There was a spat between the city and the mall that had to be resolved. They wouldn't give us $1 million a year, but they had agreed to for the city hall, and we wouldn't give them a permit. So this guy, first thing I want, Wayne, I want you to get over there to the wall and get this squared away. So that's when we ended up with the parking space where the city, or rather where the hotel is. That's how we ended up with a hotel with a sub parking, which we provide them $5 million, if I remember.
And a lot of money at the time.
And they were supposed to repay it on the first change of ownership. I apparently didn't follow it through on the council, but later on I started asking questions. Nobody could tell me when it changed hands the first time, and that $5 million went like in the Navy, they give you a flying 5 to get a haircut and all that stuff. You know? So
the irony is, Carrie, that all of this was taking place about the time that Proposition 13 was approved.
Absolutely.
And the net effect was that we had built our economics on the mall around Prop 13. And, well, all of a sudden, a large chunk of income disappeared. So we assessed the mall to make up the difference. The mall turned around and sued me personally for $20 million. And we were having major discussions, and the guy that did it is a close friend today. And the net effect was we were having this discussion, and meanwhile there was a lot of peripheral noise going on, people arguing back and forth. And he looked at me and he said, now, if we were to dispose of all of this rancor, do you think we could build another department store here? And I said, well, let me think about that a minute. Done. So the intrigue on how this got built, it involved Union Oil Company, it involved the Homart Development Company, which was a wholly owned subsidiary of Sears. And this was an amazing, interesting point, because the only really important thing the council asked me when I was interviewed for being the city manager was, can you get us a mall? And I said, absolutely. And the next morning I called a friend of mine who was related to the Sears Foundation. I said, is there a checklist somewhere that I can get that'll tell me what you look for? And he said, call this guy in real estate. I did. I got the checklist. We worked on that checklist for 10 years, and the Brea Mall exists today.